class, how you doing? It's old Uncle Larry coming at you. Homeschooling number 55. You guys remember that old Tom Waits song, Old 55? We've made it that far. Man, I love Tom Waits. Hope everybody had a good weekend out there. And I wanted to say, first of all, thank you to Tim Pierce for making that silly little video about your old buddy that I saw it yesterday and came out yesterday, and very sweet of him to do that. My old pal, he's a good guy, and thanks for doing that, Tim. And that was this little tune I made up last summer when I was staying out in Sun Valley, Idaho. I remember I found it today when I was scrolling through my old voice memos on my phone, and I totally forgot about it. It's an old country tune. I'll show you that in a minute. Playing that on my little Taylor 12 string with the tuned down a whole step, so that A chord's really a G, right? I'll show you that in a minute, so we'll get into all that. But for now, let's address the VCB. Viewer comment bin. Okay, we got a guy said, "Hey Tom, is anyone creating tabs from Uncle Larry's videos? It would save time if somebody had already done it. I love the chord voicings, but I have to rewind and replay it many times to grok it." G-R-O-K. That's a good old English word, isn't it? I'm assuming that means steal. I thought I knew all my English slang, but apparently not. That's a good one, man. Well, you know, there's Rick Beato told me a while back. He said you ought to hire somebody to, you know, do tabs of all your openings, you know, of your videos, and then offer them for sale. So maybe if you guys are up for that, I could do that. He said he knows a guy that could tab it out. I don't even know how to read tabs, so I don't even know what that means. But that also brings up the point, like, you know, I'm pretty old school, so like, I feel like it's very important for people to be able to pick the stuff out by ear. You know, if you got tabs helping you, you're kind of cheating. You need to develop your ear more, you know, be able to figure this stuff out on your own. But, you know, that's just me. I'm old school. Another guy said, "Hey, Tom, can you give us thoughts on Steve Vai's technique that he calls joint shifting?" I have no earthly idea what that is or what you're talking about. I think it's funny that people assume that I just know all this stuff about all these other players and that I can imitate them and stuff. I can't, but I do love Steve Vai. You know, when I was a kid, I wore that Flexible record out. God. And then I sort of lost track of him. But then recently, you know, a few months back, I started wondering, like, what is he up to these days? And I started checking out some of his new records, and man, he is amazing. I mean, I can't imagine how long it takes him to make those records. I mean, there's so much going on. It's just mind-blowing. But he's a cool, I mean, I've seen a few interviews. I never met him, but he seems like a very cool guy. He's a very creative fella. I love him. So, hey, Steve. And there's another guy said, "Hey, Tommy, a few episodes ago, you mentioned that as guitarists, we should have guitar storage shops to be able to pick up a guitar and just play something that sounds good. I've been working on this skill set for a while now, and man, I'm looking for advice." Well, yeah, I mean, you know, it sounds so easy, right? To just be able to pick up a guitar and play something that sounds good. But something about the way the guitar is designed, you know, it's a hard instrument to accompany yourself on. You know, certainly a lot of people have figured out this technique. But I think that's why I always do all the bass notes with my thumb, because I always feel like it's just so empty sounding if you just, you know, play melodies and chords. You have to have some support, right? Like if you just took that lead bit that I just played a minute ago and just played it on its own, it would be very kind of like whatever. You need the backing thing to make it work, right? That's why I always use the loopers. But you know, that thumb bass stuff that I've covered this in many videos. If you want to look back at some of my older stuff. You know, that kind of stuff. I think that's a good way to fill out the sound a little bit so you can sound a little more impressive on your own, you know. It's not easy to do, but I'm sure there's other ways to do it. You know, I've seen guys blow people's minds in music stores just by shredding, you know, but I always feel like you have to have a little bit of rhythm behind you to sound really full on a guitar, you know. But again, I'm old school. But I don't know, maybe that'll help you a little bit. Another guy said, "Hey Tom, you're not pretentious like so many studio guys. Thanks for the inspiration." Well, thank you for that. Honestly, I'm being brutally honest. I've never noticed that session players are pretentious, at least in my experience. I do live in Nashville, which is a community of the nicest people in the world. But I mean, most of the studio guys are actually totally not pretentious. I'm probably like the biggest annoying loudmouth of the whole bunch, But I'm glad you think that. I appreciate that. But maybe that's in other places where they're pretentious, but not around here. Let's see what else we got. Guy said, "Hey Tom, I just wanted to know your opinion of Prince as a guitarist." Well, like everybody else, I adore Prince, and it's a great loss when he left us. But he's amazing. He's amazing at a lot more things than just guitar, too. If anybody out there, I'm not trying to hype, but if anybody out there has any doubt whether or not Prince is a genius, check out a song called "Condition of the Heart" off the Around the World in a Day record. I can't even wrap my mind around that. It's such a, God, it's outrageously amazing. And man, there's so much going on in that song. It's just some of the most musical things I've ever heard. But again, you'll probably hate it now that I suggested it. But if you would have found it on your own, you would have really liked it. So, all right, another guy said, "Hey Tom, make an album already, geez." I've had a lot of these comments, people suggesting that I make a solo album, and I'm thinking about it, but I'm definitely, me and Dean DeLeo from Stone Temple Pilots are definitely doing that thing. He already recorded a few tracks that we wrote together, and he's sending them here. So this weekend I'm going to go in the studio and add some stuff to what he's done. We're going to have to do it sort of our collaborations cyber, because he doesn't want to fly with the COVID and all that. And I don't blame him, and I don't want to fly either. But we're going to make a record, and it's going to be cool because we've got some great stuff already that we've just been passing ideas back and forth, videos. But he's a great dude. I love him. I've never even met him face to face, but we talk almost every day, and I feel like I've known him my whole life. Okay, another guy said, "Hey Tom, your videos make me super happy. Thank you." I like that. Simplicity there. Thank you, man. I'm glad that I've got a lot of those types of comments, and I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys can learn something, and you can also be entertained from my completely depressing life that I've had. No, it's been great. I do appreciate all the kind words and donations, and everybody. They make it a point to reach out and tell old Uncle Larry they like him. And he's the most insecure guy in the world. But it makes him feel good when you guys say those things. Appreciate it. Here's that silly song I was playing. Again, I'm tuned down a whole step, so this A chord that I'm playing is really a G, but I'm just gonna say it's an A, just so you know what I'm talking about, if you tune your guitar down. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. B minor. Back to A. Here comes the bridge. B. C sharp minor. F major 7, B, C sharp minor, C major 7, B sus. That's it. And the lead bit was like 1, 2, 3, 4. And the B B section is 3, 4. Again. There you go. When you tune a 12 string down a little bit, it helps be able to play it a little easier. I've noticed it's like they're pretty rough at full 440, but tune it down, it gets a little more slinky. When you're playing a 12 string, you have to be careful when upstrokes and downstrokes make a big difference when you're playing on the 4 lower strings, because if you hit it downstroke, you're emphasizing the high octave. If you hit it upstroke, you're emphasizing the low octave, and that's, you have to be, you know, which one do you want to sing the most when you're playing a melody? And I'll play that same thing. The downstrokes, different. I got a cool week coming up. I'm doing a couple sessions for Dan Auerbach from the Black Keys Thursday and Friday. Excited about that. He's super fun to work with. He's a super cool guy. Fellow Northeast Ohio man. And I was going to tell you, last week I did a session for the legendary producer Val Garay. You guys know him? Garay. He's a LA guy. We were working on a Richie Furay record, the guy from Buffalo Springfield. Richie's a super sweet guy, and Val's a man. Look up Val Garay. His credits, records that he's made is amazing. He's actually watching the show. I wanted to say hey to him. But man, he made Only the Lonely by the Motels, a bunch of James Taylor records, and a bunch of great stuff. Legendary cat, and I was talking to him on the phone today, and he said something really funny. He was apparently, back in the old days, he was a master tape cutter editor, and he said that, I asked him if he misses the old days of working on tape, and he said, hell no. He said it took him 6 hours to cut that yodel that Martha Davis does at the end of Only the Lonely into the actual take from an old take. And something you could do like in 3 seconds now on a Pro Tools rig. But, you know, I asked him, you know, did these sort of limitations have its own sort of form of creativity too? You know, like, did that, you know, necessity to commit make for more clever and creative recordings? And he said, absolutely. We do have a little too easy nowadays. But I wouldn't want to be in there trying to cut up a 24-track 2-inch. Must have been a lot of pressure, you know. Anyway, I'm rambling. hope you guys are good. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great week, guys. All right, bye-bye.